Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy. And I don't know why you put a picture of Michael Jordan crying on the cover, but
He's not crying. He was talking about something.
you couldn't have picked a worse picture.
Okay, sorry for the thumbnail. I will change it if it pleases everybody.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about Michael Jordan and then Mission Impossible as well. It's coming out. I think you're going to do a in-depth analysis of it later on in the week.
You mean a review?
A review, yeah.
When we go see it?
No, a pre-review.
Oh, okay.
Talking about it.
So talking about the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Well, there's no 15 minutes in Spanish, so why don't we get right into the news?
We did an hour in Spanish.
Why don't we start with some pop culture, because YouTube kind of throttles us if we go right into politics.
Yes.
Okay.
A bit of nonsensical.
Oh, by the way, our X was not loading today, so a lot of the
Yes.
clips we get are usually from X, so you're going to have to bear with us. We're going to grab articles as we go, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll try to do my best to see if they load, but if you start hearing things, it might be because one of the things actually loaded finally. So just bear with us, but thank you.
Oh, I can turn off the sound.
Oh, yes, turn up the sound.
Okay.
Okay.
We're all good.
So
Let's get right into this.
NBC Universal has Hoop Dreams as sports set to dominate upfronts. And we kind of been talking about this and how sports might start to become the only saving grace for a lot of networks.
Yeah, but it can prolong the doom which network TV is kind of destined for. But if the networks are smart, they'll parlay this into their website. Sports is very easy to break up, a little bit on the website, a little bit on live TV. Also, you can put articles, interviews, things like this on the website, which is like complimentary content for your live TV.
And also all their streaming services. They would be smart to move it towards streaming because that's one of the things that actually works great for streaming.
Yeah, and it's not like somebody's going to be have to be on their computer and on the TV. Most people have their phones when they're watching the TV. So to integrate the phone into the game somehow would really parlay your audience on, basically transfer them to online, and they're going to need to do that if they want to survive. NBC in particularly has the contract for the NBA, so that's their big sport that they're going to really try to push forward. Problem with that, the NBA has been extremely woke, and people have been turning their back on the NBA. Mm-hmm. They've been having extremely low ratings, but NBC does complement their NBA with a few other sports and things like that, but the NBA is not the best sport right now.
Yeah, and I mean, the NFL still kind of suffers through the same. They've tried to manage to get off of it, but during the height of BLM, they were one of the first ones.
Yeah, but their audience didn't abandon them. They stayed with them, actually. The NFL went partially woke, and people continued to watch. That was the thing with the NFL.
Well,
and now they have an easy transition back to, like, traditional history Americana, things like that.
And with the NBA, I mean, they do keep trying to push the WNBA. And they keep trying to put that like in front of everybody and like put announcements and merch and stuff like that during regular games. And I think that just annoys a lot of people. And they also try to make that whole story about that girl, Caitlin Clark.
What I was going to say is they have one player. It's called Caitlin Clark, and they treat her like absolute crap. And she's been bowing down to the woke mob, which is making people even lose respect for her. But she is a star. She could bring in an audience. They need to put her forward. They don't want to put a white person forward for the NBA. Instead, they're trying to put. There's a girl named Reese something, and she's just a hack.
Charlotte Reese?
No.
But I mean, and they could also just try to stop imposing, WNBA,
Get it together.
Which nobody cares about on actual viewers that they might have. I mean, it just turns them off.
Well, before Caitlin Clark, the WNBA, it is just losing money. The NBA subsidizes it, so it's kind of their goodwill gesture, but. The league's not popular. Caitlin Clark is popular, and they really need to rally to her. NBA players have told them what they need to do. They just seem to refuse to want to do it.
Yeah, because once again, and I said it in Spanish, they get these like kind of younger, millennial usually people that are hyper woke and have had their brains washed by the universities they went to, and then they start trying to implement all of these super woke progressive ideas and the ideology itself within wherever they're working, and we see it infect everything, including the NBA.
Yeah, and they are doing one thing right, and that's why we put Michael Jordan on the cover. Why don't we go into the next story? Michael Jordan is joining the NBC NBA coverage as a special like announcer. Contributor, yeah.
Yes.
And he was there last year as well, so this is a good move. And if they could really lean into Michael Jordan, he represents the time when the NBA wasn't woke. He had the famous quote of saying, conservatives buy shoes too, because there was a lot of pressure on him even back in the 80s to go liberal.
See, this article used the exact same one I used.
Just keep going.
So basketball.
You should have used a younger picture of the gentleman.
Basketball icon set to join NBC's revamped NBA coverage as a special contributor. Basketball legend Michael Jordan there have been plenty of former NBA greats who've transitioned into television. Names like Shaquille O'Neal, Magic Johnson, Dwayne Wade come to mind, but none carry the same mystique or legacy as the man widely considered the GOAT, Michael Jordan. And I mean, what has he been doing since he's done?
He's been gambling, playing golf, the normal things. He's always liked those things.
He did a documentary. He was in a documentary recently that we watched.
Yeah, where his son was banging Scottie Pippen's girlfriend or wife.
No, it was about shoes.
Yeah, but that was the big controversy around that.
So what's the controversy?
His number one teammate was Scottie Pippen for his whole career, and his son started banging Scottie Pippen's wife, and Scottie Pippen's wife left him.
So Michael Jordan's son?
Yep, Michael Jordan's son started banging Scottie Pippen's wife.
How old was the wife?
The wife was... probably he was younger, so he's more around the son's age anyway.
Okay.
But still, that's a little shady.
Yes, but yes. So what is your opinion of Michael Jordan in general?
I like him, but when you see him a lot behind the scenes and stuff, he was a dick to a lot of players and a lot of people because he was uber super competitive, but that's what made him so good, I guess.
And I mean, a lot of men that do get to those great heights, I mean, they don't do it because of luck. They do it through hard work and perseverance and showing up and doing the thing over and over again and getting better. And the attitude required to do that is sometimes that like a little dickish.
Yeah, and he's a beloved figure as like he really curated his image to the general public. Unlike LeBron is just this woke Chinese puppet. So even if Michael Jordan might be a little brash behind the edges, behind the scenes, he's still just a good guy overall.
Yeah, and I mean that one quote that's iconic, where Republicans or conservatives buy
shoes too.
I mean, I think that should be the attitude for anybody and everybody who's in the media. That's the public figure that doesn't have anything to do with politics. That should be the attitude for everybody, because we've seen it over and over again that like these new kids and celebrities and stars keep forgetting that, I mean, half of who pays their paycheck are not ideologically compatible with them.
Oh yeah. Well, there was a story about Michael Jordan before his dad took a nap on the side of the road. Did you hear this story? No. So
remember, you can't say it.
Yeah, his dad was on a long drive, so he ended up pulling over, sleeping on the side of the road. Somebody came with a pew and it kind of ended him.
What?
So that was a big thing at the time. Yeah, it was pretty sad.
But like, was it a criminal? Were they trying to rob him?
Well, he was kind of parked in the middle of nowhere, so yeah, they were probably trying to rob him, I'm guessing. But there was rumors at the time because Michael Jordan had a lot of gambling debts, but he did have a lot of money, so I don't know. Yeah. But he was betting big. He always betted big.
And who's the one that passed away?
Who?
Not that recently. Like recently, but not super recently.
I don't know.
He used to have he played for the purple team.
Kobe Bryant. That was kind of Michael Jordan's heir, and he kind of took the league after Michael Jordan, and then after him it was kind of LeBron. And LeBron, like as good of a player as he is, he has every genetic advantage. He's bigger than all the other players. Michael Jordan was a lot smaller than other players, so it was nice to see like a David versus Goliath type of thing. But just LeBron is just I can't stand him. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going.
I think we milked that one as much as we could.
No, we got tons of stories. So.
No, I know, but I mean, talking about Michael Jordan.
Okay, let's get into Mission Impossible here.
Yeah, the one you keep trying to tell me to talk about.
You have to talk about it.
I will. I want to go watch it.
Global event.
So Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, first reactions praise film as an exhilarating adrenaline rush with a gold standard action for the ages. And I do commend, regardless of what you think of him, I commend Tom Cruise for insisting and learning and doing all his actual stunts, of him like demanding that most of the stunts and most of the things you see on the screen and most of the things he's on be done practically, like they're practical effects where he's actually hanging off of a helicopter, he's actually like running up on a motorcycle and jumping off a cliff. All that stuff is, I mean, great. It also, I mean, allows him to be a kid still, kind of.
But we should.
And it's surprising he's still pretty much intact.
We should have used Mission Impossible for the thumbnail, but at the last minute, you're like, "What is it?" And I just picked a story.
I'll change it.
No. But this movie is a 3 hour plus runtime, so it's expected to do extremely well in theaters.
It's the last one of the series, so they want to go all out.
This is the final installment. Like I said, it has a 3 hour runtime. Problem with a 3 hour plus runtime is it doesn't get quite as many showings as if it had an hour and a half runtime. Mm-hmm. So they can't cash in on the same amount of money, especially in the first opening weeks. They can only monopolize so many theaters. Supposedly the IMAX is only going to monopolize IMAX theaters for the first 2 weeks, and then they're going to bump it for another movie. So it's going to be interesting to see how much this movie actually makes. I'm sure this is an extremely high budget movie. The advertising budget has to be huge because here in Mexico City, this thing is plastered all over the place.
Yes. And I mean, even with, for example, what was the other one? Top Gun. Like, I never watched the original. I wasn't really interested in going to watch the new version. I suspected it might be woke and stuff. But once I started seeing how they use practical effects, how they actually learn to taught people how to kind of fly the planes, or what are they called? The fighter jets. And how to, like, at least they sat them there and they filmed their reactions for real, and they had them go like up and down and throw up all over the place. The actors that probably have never done that. And I do like that because that returns to the joy of filmmaking and what filmmaking should actually be, not just behind a screen, but also getting people to experience in a way actual things that are happening. And I mean, Scientology aside, I do like Tom Cruise because of that. And he's also managed to surprisingly stay away from most of the politics, most of the controversies aside from his crazy religion. But most, like recently, there hasn't really been big headlines other than he yelled at people during the bad times because they took their masks off or something. But
he stayed quiet and out of politics, which is a smart move because with things shifting back, he's going to be able to pull from both audiences, the conservatives and the liberals, very easily. And this is, from the early reviews, they're saying this is a gold standard action film, meaning it's just a traditional, good, nuts and bolts action film, which is great to hear.
And which is kind of what they showed with Top Gun.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that Hollywood goes into practical effects, practical movies, and that's going to cause budgets to go up. But I think leave AI for the independent content creators and the independent movie makers online. And once they develop the idea through AI, maybe big studios can pick up that and then make it all like actual film.
So like independent filmmakers or people that have an idea but have no money, no budget, and no way to actually do it, they could proof of concept it with AI. Like that's what AI could actually be useful for, not to take people's jobs and leave them even with less creativity than they already have within Hollywood and the industry. But let it be used with independent content creators that then can go try to sell their thing to the industry and then have the industry do it for real, basically. Like, I think that would have really helped, for example, Spielberg. It would have helped a lot of these filmmakers that used eventually, when they had the money, the practical effects, but had to wait until a studio actually listened to them and their ideas.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, we'll go watch it. We'll
there's
review it.
There's a lot more to talk about this movie, actually, but I'll let you get into it later in the week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there's news from today about it, but do you want me to say it or no?
What?
Well, Tom Cruise during the press tour was asked about how the tariffs would impact the filmmaking industry. And he, again, did something very smart, kind of like Michael Jordan did, which was to say, I don't want to get into that. I'm just here to talk about the movie and promote this last movie that we're very proud of. So he completely skirted the question, which was very smart on his part.
Yeah, that was very smart because most of his films are filmed, or a lot of his films are filmed internationally, especially stuff like Mission Impossible. So it was good to kind of skirt the question for him, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that came out today.
And next we have Gerard Depardieu. I put this in as an update because it's kind of a fringe story, but I remember I randomly talked about it and that he was going to court for an SA case. If you don't know what SA is, you can see the words on the screen there.
Yes. Being disgusting.
And he was found guilty and sentenced to a suspended sentence of 18 months. So he had no sentence. It was just suspended.
Well, it's France. They're like that in France.
Yeah, but what this was never about getting him a sentence. This was about destroying his reputation. Now,
it was already kind of murky before this all happened.
But these allegations are coming out from 2018, I believe. So it's quite a while ago, 7 years.
And he has been on some more American stuff, but he mainly kind of stayed within French media.
Yeah, once in a while he did American movies and things. I remember him from my time. He was actually a pretty big actor from my time. So, yeah.
He's only been like a guest on stuff from my time.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay, so that was the update for that story. Let's go into Puerto Rico now.
Okay, so Puerto Rico seeks to lure manufacturing to boost its economy as Trump's tariff war deepens.
Yeah, and if you don't know about or if the audience doesn't know about Puerto Rico, it's a territory of the United States. Mm-hmm. So American citizens can live there and basically live there tax free. So this is a perfect opportunity if tariffs do stay high in other countries to really import a lot of manufacturing into Puerto Rico. And there's a big divide in Puerto Rico because a lot of Americans move there to avoid taxes, but it really bumps up the property value and creates a two-class system. So if manufacturing could really go there, it could help merge that gap between the poorer population and the richer mainland Americans that live there.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, liberal and mainstream media will continue to try to vilify anything that has to do with tariffs or with them actually working or benefiting anybody. But I mean, they do have a quote here from the governor, who's Jennifer Gonzalez, saying the tariff issue is a controversial one, but for Puerto Rico, it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, because they have a lower minimum wage and things like this. Mm-hmm. So if they bring manufacturing over there, you still get that benefit of having cheaper labor, but the labor cost will increase as manufacturing starts to move in because workers will become harder and harder to find. It's not the biggest populated area.
And also, like, it does look like Puerto Rico themselves are trying to lure in companies because it says, so far, officials have identified between 75 and 100 companies that might consider relocating operations to Puerto Rico given the ongoing trade war, according to the CEO of Invest Puerto Rico.
Yeah, they're definitely very aware of their special status they hold with the United States. So this is a perfect opportunity if the tariffs hold up. These companies are interested right now because these contracts haven't been negotiated. Trump's currently in the process. He's negotiated with China yesterday, the UK a few days before that. He was over in Saudi Arabia cutting deals. His negotiating teams are with a long line of countries, but he's only got so many negotiators so many negotiators he actually trusts. Mm-hmm. So it's going to take a while for these contracts to roll in. Once things are finalized and the final map and the board's kind of laid out, if there is still a 10% tariff, I think a lot of companies will move into Puerto Rico, and it looks like 10% is the minimum that they're going to hold up.
Cool.
And this would also help Puerto Rico to if they do get a lot of manufacturing, the United States would definitely invest in their infrastructure and their ports and things like that because they're going to have to ship those products around the world.
Yeah, so I mean, it benefits Puerto Rico, but I'm sure if it does, hey, where am I?
Oh, I'm going to go try to get you back for us.
Should I go to the main one? Should I do Spanish again?
No. Okay, you should be back.
The camera got tired of me.
Are you back?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if you can find this sugar thing on X, because this was actually really good, and this was specifically for you. I got it.
The what?
The sugar. What does sugar do to your body?
I did. But once again, X has been iffy. I don't know if it's just for us. I don't know if it's just Mexico, or I think because of the Diddy trial, which we've already talked about, they're saying that kind of created like too much traffic to the site, but I don't know. It hasn't been loading for people.
Are we going to talk about the Diddy trial in a little bit? I didn't write it down, but is the sugar thing loading or no?
Yes. I mean, it looks like it's loaded. It might stop. So.
Okay, well, let's play it.
Okay. Do you want me to read it or just play it?
I had to unmute you.
Shemaine.
I gotta turn
I mean, everybody knows sugar is bad.
Okay. Damn headphones.
So why is sugar so critical in the healing process as well? I know, but I want to hear your expert.
Okay, I've been doing interviews, thousands of them over the last 5 years. This is the first time anyone's asked me that. I'm so excited. Okay, did you know that sugar, when you eat it, a donut, Pop-Tart, piece of bread, doesn't matter, Kool-Aid, Dr. Pepper, did you know that when you swallow sugar, they have known for 70 years that it goes inside your bone marrow and it suppresses within 45 minutes your body's ability to produce white blood cells that fight infections like bacteria, yeast, viruses.
So Nat eats a ton of sugar.
I've been
so that's kind of
cutting
why I put
back.
this in. No, we're not done.
I know, but I'm trying to defend myself.
There's nothing to defend.
Yes, there is.
Okay, let's
I mean, I know
continue.
it's bad.
Did you finish your Red Bull?
No. I drink like a third of a Red Bull during the show.
No, she drinks a
Yes,
whole
I
can.
do.
Let's
Funguses
continue.
and parasites. Did you know that it literally shuts off your immune system and makes you more susceptible to all viruses, all infections? And did you know that they compared sugar to prednisone? Prednisone is a steroid. And do you know that its job is to suppress your immune system? In fact, it's called an immune system suppressant. Did you know that sugar suppresses your immune system more than prednisone does? So if you're trying to fight an infection, if you're worried about the bird flu in the future, and I find out you're eating donuts and Pop-Tarts and cereal in the morning, you don't care about your health. In fact, when I would walk around grocery stores during COVID, people would see me without a mask and they would start backing up from me. And these people were always overweight, wearing a mask, but they were afraid of me. And then I'd go like this, wait, are you really worried about getting COVID? And they'd go, yes. And I'd go, wait, am I scaring you because I'm not wearing a mask? Yes. Why are you scared? You're wearing your mask. I thought it protected you from people like me.
But I mean, it's funny that I'll talk. Since we're having technical issues, the camera gave up on me. It got bored of me talking for so long. I mean, with sugar, it is obvious that it's not the greatest for you. It's not good for you. But I think everything within measure. And what are you doing? He's trying to change my camera. Producer guy. Oh, I'm back. Different angle today. I look taller. So yes, I mean, sugar is terrible for you. Of course, everything in moderation, and whatever guy continues to say about my sugar habits is not true. That's about as much as I have to say.
Sure.
You want to? It's almost done.
That was it? No, keep
There's
going.
a little bit.
It's not almost done.
And then I'd go like this. If you're going to tell me to put on my mask, which lots of people would, this is what I'd say to them. I will put on my mask when I see you go put up the Dr. Pepper that's in your basket, when you put up your Gatorade in the basket, your Pop-Tarts, your donuts, your cereals, when you go put that back on the shelves, those things in your basket make you more susceptible to all infections and diseases. Why am I going to think you really care about your health? Go put that stuff back and I'll put on my mask. I wasn't eating that stuff.
That conversation? Did you actually have that conversation in a grocery store?
Multiple times.
Okay,
Yeah, I wouldn't wear
that's
a
good.
mask.
I mean,
I just kind of put that in there because I do a lot of health stories,
Yes.
and this was a good solid health story for like to kind of warn about the pitfalls of sugar.
But it's funny that I recently got blood work done for just to check up, and everything, all my levels were perfect. Everything, hormone levels, all the other levels.
You know, diabetes isn't there until it just hits you
No,
one day.
there's pre-diabetes. There's indications of diabetes, and I also don't consume that much sugar just because you
do.
Well, you do as well, but
No,
just
I don't.
because
I
you
don't-
try not to.
I don't eat sugar because
What
my
did
back.
you eat today?
A croissant,
With
a little bit of chocolate on it
half
with my
chocolate.
coffee.
And a bunch of other stuff.
No, I didn't. No,
Yes.
don't even try to put your demons on me.
They're not my-
I have back issues, so anytime I eat something like sugar.
Today I had Rice
or-
Krispies.
Okay.
That's what I had for breakfast.
Don't bring our
They don't
arguments
have sugar.
to the people of the,
They have a little bit of sugar.
of
But,
the internet.
but yes, I mean, take care of your health, but also I don't eat that much
Oh,
sugar.
this is the perfect time where we can talk about the Diddy trial, but I'm going to relate it to the next story we have, and that's the James O'Keefe, he released images of inside Epstein's mansion that actually had got secret footage from there. So people have kind of went on the island, but they haven't been fully in the house and had really good footage of in the house. So I did bookmark it on X to see if it's available. But part of the reason maybe this stuff is getting linked to James O'Keefe, the Epstein case is really linked to the Diddy case, and they really want to probably fill the headlines with Epstein Diddy really connecting the two and try to influence the jury, I think. Mm-hmm. And I have a feeling this is why Epstein has really been in the news the last few days.
Yes, as he should be. People should not forget about his disgustingness. So, Diddy trial?
Yeah, Diddy trial.
So, yes, today was the day when Cassie took the stand and actually talked a lot about what was going on, what happened to her. And unfortunately, and I said it in Spanish, I mean, she's pretty pregnant with her third child. And it's sad that she gets to recount all of these horrific things that this man did to her while she's like happy. Her husband is there to support her and she's, creating life while she has to talk about disgusting things. And I hope nothing happens in the courtroom because stress can induce labor. So keep the baby in there, please.
But I don't know much about the trial. You've been following it all day, though. That's because you were getting prepared to make a video today about it.
Yeah. So Cassie's testimony was pretty much what everybody already speculated and what other people have come out and talked about that would happen at these freak-off parties. But she mostly described how she was treated, how these party things and the filming and the using of people of the night, I will just say, because it was both men and women, and how he would force her to do stuff with these people of the night. Yeah. How that would last about 36, 48, even 72 hours on end, essentially.
All right.
What's happening?
I was trying to check the sound.
Okay. And I mean, I don't think we'll see anything that's super surprising if you can kind of imagine how disgusting things can get within the Hollywood, within what happened with Diddy, within what he's being accused of. But to hear it firsthand,
but what is surprising is when a witness goes missing.
Yes, there is a witness still missing.
A star witness.
Well, it was witness number 3. Victim number 3 is the name. But yes, still hasn't reappeared, essentially. I mean, there's speculations all the way from got paid off to scared for their life to let's hope she turns up alive. So
yeah, and it's a shame that federal trials can't be televised, and that's why this isn't being televised. All the really good trials are usually federal cases. Mm-hmm. So,
there can be they can ask special permission to televise federal trials, but in this case, the judge said no.
Yeah, it would be awesome to cover a good trial like this, but
yeah, and there are people covering it online, like daily, following the whole trial, because there's reporters inside that are tweeting everything that is being said. So the way the information is being fed out is through these Twitter accounts and people on live streams kind of reading them out and commenting.
Cool. And kind of a related story was this James O'Keefe tour of the Epstein mansion. Did we have this footage?
Let me try to see. Nope, that was sugar. There we go. Hopefully it loads. So James O'Keefe is an independent investigative journalist, and he's been doing a bunch of stuff with the whole Epstein thing.
And you can just fast forward it a little bit till they get to, there we go.
In the past, independent journalists have snuck ashore, but no footage or images from inside these buildings has ever been published until now. This footage was captured about a year after Epstein's arrest. In this world exclusive, O'Keefe Media Group takes you through the kitchen inside the main mansion.
There.
Yeah, pause it really quick. So it looks like right here he's going to go through the kitchen of the main mansion, and now James O'Keefe is really slow dripping a lot of these stories. He's got multiple stories coming out. I think some of these are going to be footages of the Epstein mansion that's going to come out over a matter of days. Mm-hmm. The last one he had as well is kind of trickling out. He's got a bunch of major stories coming out.
Steel appliances. There are sparse decorations, including a few pieces of coral, but there does appear one prominent artwork, a large framed photo of a nude baby in a sink. The baby is holding a phallic-shaped object. The image is hung above the kitchen table. It begs the question, why did Jeffrey Epstein choose to place this image inside of a kitchen where visitors would eat, cook, and entertain. The publication of this footage comes on the heels of a report last week of a royal fixer admitting Prince Andrew had sex with underage girls.
And this was his other major story that had recently come out.
Covered.
Yeah, so they finally have like hard evidence of Prince Andrew and his dealings with underage girls.
Mm-hmm. Do I keep playing it?
Yeah, play it a little bit so the people can see if they don't know.
And also after a report last week on Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Yeah, and it's all with little kids.
Since those reports aired, we've received an uptick in outreach and tips, and we've heard from these sources that they don't trust anybody due to the lack of transparency and accountability in the United States government. We increasingly find...
That's good.
I am surprised he went directly after Pam Bondi, though.
Well, the Pam Bondi thing wasn't really a scandal. She just was
she just said, but like to do it, to film her in like secret.
Yeah, well, it was, somebody did. I don't know if it was him. Because the people are giving him tips.
Footage.
Yeah. But it gives him mass credibility to really go after both sides.
Yes,
so.
That's true.
Okay, well, what do we have next here? The Minister of Transport doesn't even own a car. And I put this in here specifically because I reported yesterday that the rumor was Christina Freeland wasn't going to be part of Mark Carney's cabinet. She ended up getting a spot in the cabinet even though Trump was against it. So she got the spot of Minister of Transport, which is crazy because the girl doesn't even own a car. We're going to see it in her own words right here.
I was waiting for it to load. That's why I was stalling.
A fact that still shocks my dad is I don't have...
Oh, see? Today, X has been all over the place.
Okay, well,
she doesn't actually own a car.
Okay.
Her dad, the person with the mustache sympathizer.
And yeah, I just kind of put that in. We're going to go into his cabinet here in a minute, and it was just absolutely horrible. Now, I had a bunch of clips pulled up where Pierre Poilievre, the gentleman that just lost for the Conservative Party, just ripped into his cabinet, but X isn't working, so we'll move past that. The former mayor of Vancouver from 2008 to 2018, Greg Robinson, was given the Minister of Housing. Now, this is a huge position because the Minister of Housing was the main problem they're having in Canada. They don't have enough houses built. This is a huge issue that both candidates campaigned on. The problem is, as Vancouver mayor from 2008 to 2018, homelessness exploded, affordability collapsed. There was major construction, what would you call it? Disasters within Vancouver, like the Olympic Village that they built for the Olympics, which are completely growing mold. They weren't properly built, things like that, because they were built too fast. This asshole used to come into my bar, so I wouldn't say we're friends, but I knew him in passing.
I also know him in passing because when I was super woke and on the left and organizing stuff, he actually showed up and like we were all taking pictures with him and stuff. He was wearing a pink shirt. I still have the picture actually.
I seen his
I think it's one of the videos.
He's trying to look like a conservative, but man, this guy's a joke. And
he does look way older.
The fact that Carney is putting all these people that used to be in Trudeau's cabinet, he's just putting them in his cabinet, and he's making
and he said he wasn't going to do that.
And he's making a few promotions of people that have no business being like the Minister of Transport, or this guy collapsed housing in Vancouver when he was running Vancouver. Now he's running the whole country on one of the most important issues. This is crazy.
And the Minister of Transport doesn't have a car because she's a multimillionaire. And she doesn't need a car because she gets driven around. It's not like she bikes everywhere or uses the actual public transport that she's going to be in charge of, but rather she just gets driven around or flies in jets everywhere.
What she says, and I kind of believe her, she lives in downtown Toronto and she doesn't really need everything's in walking distance.
But she goes to Davos in jets and stuff.
Yeah, I know that, but I don't think she really goes around in a car too much. Okay, let's continue.
To what?
Let's go to President Trump in Saudi Arabia. This was a huge deal today.
Yes.
Most of the stuff going forward is going to be geopolitics. So,
So yes, Trump lays out Mideast vision as he looks to revamp U.S. approach in Iran, Syria, and beyond. He was in the Middle East with the Crown Prince of Saudi today.
Yeah, so
Saudi Crown Prince.
Yeah, so President Trump and the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince signed an economic agreement which will result in a $600 billion Saudi investment in the United States. This is huge. It's rumored there may be another $400 billion coming as well. So this is going to really help create that tariff boom Trump wants. Mm-hmm. He had China yesterday, he has Saudi Arabia today. Not that this is a tariff deal, but this is a direct investment of cash infusement into the manufacturing base they need to build in the United States. And a lot of companies are just coming around to the United States because they're scared of these tariffs. Yes. So everything seems to be working out for them really well.
And also, I mean, we're going to get into it in a bit, but I mean, with the whole tariff talk, and tariffs are the worst thing for the economy and the worst thing he could be doing. I mean, inflation is down right now in the States. And
yeah, inflation's down, the stock market's up, everything's going perfect. He had 40 years where he's been talking about tariffs and how he wanted to bring them in. Now he's actually bringing them in, and it's going really as smooth as it could be. Everybody said the economy would collapse. It's headed in the opposite direction. I was expecting mid and long-term success. I wasn't expecting short-term success, but he really knows how to manipulate the stock market, how he releases the news. He releases the big ask, which is a high tariff, and then he brings it back to a low tariff. So the economy takes a dive, and then it rebounds higher than it was before.
But then people are also going to say, well, but that was all thanks to Joe Biden.
What's to Joe Biden?
The economy doing better right now. Like, that was all because of what Joe Biden did before he left office.
Well, no, the economy was down.
I know, but people will say, oh, this like upshoot of the economy is all thanks to stuff that was happening during the Biden.
But there's not an upshoot of the economy. That's what I was just kind of explaining, that Trump, everything's based on Trump's announcements. So the day he makes an announcement, the stock market would tank. The day he makes the next announcement is like 2 days later, it rebounds. So it's obviously not Joe Biden. It's specifically based on the news Trump is releasing. And this has happened like 10 or 15 times. So it's completely disconnected from Joe Biden. So Joe Biden or his administration can't take any credit for what's kind of going on right now.
Speaking of Joe Biden, did you see, I mean, it's not one of the stories, but did you see apparently they found something like a lump in his prostate or something like that?
Yeah, I think they were hiding the fact that he was wearing diapers, and they said he was really close to actually being crippled, where he should have been in a wheelchair but wasn't. Because
I mean, you could see the little old man shuffle he used to do.
Yeah. I mean, it was just a sad state where he was. He should have stepped down. Kamala Harris should have been president at the time, even though I didn't like her either. No. So, okay. The other big news he talked about in Saudi Arabia today was President Trump announced he will be removing U.S. sanctions on Syria. I will be ordering the sanctions ceased against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness. And this is big news. I'm sure it went along with this economic deal he cut. So typically he likes to use Saudi Arabia because that's one of the U.S.'s biggest allies in the Middle East region, unlike Iran, which is their enemy. But he leveraged the relationship with Saudi economically and otherwise to get the 7 Middle East peace accords with Israel last time he was in office. So those were historic. The fact that he didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize for that was astonishing.
And does it have anything to do with security as well, the whole Syria-Iran thing?
What do you mean?
Well, that he's like trying to change the approach and trying to lift sanctions and trying to be more friendly.
Yeah, he's kind of turned his back or gave Israel the cold shoulder in the last few days. I don't know if that's just for the media because he's going into these negotiations with Middle Eastern countries. I suspect that it's just for show so he can move these negotiations forward, and that he will re-strengthen his alliance with Israel after these are done. He'll re-strengthen the alliance, but have some big asks for Israel, which would be more peace accords, which he's trying to, it looks like, work out with Saudi Arabia and other countries. So,
okay, you know more about this than I do, so.
Okay, and you were talking about it, inflation is down 2.3%, lower than expected in the U.S. right now.
Yes. Sorry.
Do you have anything to say about it?
I'm looking for it. Hold on.
Okay, well, inflation is down, and this is a good thing. A lot of this is probably connected to oil prices and things of this nature because that's the biggest input that goes into most products, transporting and manufacturing of them. And oil prices are way down right now globally.
So yes, rate hit 2.3% in April, less than expected and lowest since 2021. And I mean, there are a lot of people that have been scared and fear mongering and warning that, I mean, there's going to be more inflation, the economy is just going to go horribly. And I mean, even egg prices went down, falling 12.7%.
Well, with these tariffs coming in, I was expecting more inflation in the short term. The fact that inflation is down and these contracts are coming in and the stock market is going up.
But could it go down and like shoot up again?
Well, I would naturally expect inflation to continue to rise, but it's not going to be a surprise with this infrastructure reshuffling Trump is doing. But if he's successful at it, America is going to be the strongest country in the world again, or it's going to at least going to be able to compete with its peers after the BRICS currency is released. So,
and a lot of people will be able to say, "I told you so," to crazy mainstream media. So tell me what's next, because again, stuff was not loading, so I don't know where to go.
The
from
U.S. government takes control of New York's Rikers Island prison. If we can get a story about this and read a little bit, because it just popped up on X right before we went on air, so I didn't know the details of this actually.
Yes, I found one. Hold on. Again, from...
Okay, Rikers Island is one of the most famous. It's not a main penitentiary. It's a holding jail, but it's very big. It's notorious in New York State. And this is where prisoners wait while they're awaiting trial. Or they can come back from the major prison, come here while they're waiting to go to court and things like that if they have secondary charges.
Yeah, because I feel like I've heard that name before in movies and stuff. So U.S. judge takes control of New York's troubled Rikers Island jail. Judge appoints independent official to oversee Rikers Island jail reform. Legal Aid Society calls appointment a critical turning point. City's proposal for compliance director role rejected by the judge. Violent conditions have not improved for years, the judge says. Is it because trying to see from city officials? So they're trying to take the Rikers Island jail away from city officials. I thought maybe it was a contracted run prison because there's a lot of those in the States.
They have another prison, but it's far away and people can't make it to and from court. It's taking more time to transport prisoners in New York traffic, so they're missing their court dates and things like this. So Rikers Island is the most convenient, but it's completely mismanaged.
Yeah, so the U.S. District Judge Laura Taylor Swain in Manhattan said she would select a remediation manager reporting directly to her, who will have broad powers to reform Rikers, including authority to revise the jail's rules, who knows if to make them more lax or less lax, hire staff, and take disciplinary actions against employees who violate policies on the use of force.
Okay. Well, let's go into the last story here. And this is going to be a story about Trump cutting taxes. This was actually huge. A lot of people thought he would never deliver on this. And the fact that he is, the only reason he can deliver on this is because of the waste, corruption, and abuse that DOJ uncovered. They've uncovered more than $1 trillion, let me see this.
Trying to find it.
Well, the taxes they're going to cut is going to affect every class of society. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security. These are going to be permanent tax cuts. Even if the next administration comes in, it's going to be very hard for them to start taxing these three things again because people will be in an uproar. No tax on tips means all service workers, which is like your young students and has more of a young demographic. Your overtime is primarily your blue collar workers, but it's really all sectors. No tax on overtimes could mean like $5,000 to $10,000 more per paycheck for a lot of people. So this is a huge tax break. And the final one is taxes on Social Security. A lot of people didn't know the United States government started taxing Social Security under the Democrats. So now he's taking that away. So this is going to be a huge break, especially these people on very tight budgets, older people are. So this is a huge... Okay, why don't we read
And also with like the tip thing. I mean, there are people that like they're older and they've made a career out of waitressing or doing stuff like that as well.
No, you get taxed when you're actually working for the tips.
No, I know, but I'm saying like there's waiters that essentially do that for their whole lives as well. So this would actually increase their earnings as well.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Okay. I thought you meant they're gonna not tax it on retirement tips or something. Okay,
no, that's not what I'm saying. So
let's read a little bit.
As negotiations ramp up for President Donald Trump's tax agenda, there are key issues to watch. And again, this is from CNBC, so take it with a grain of salt. The opinions, if they put any in there, which oversees taxes, released a preliminary partial text of its portion of the bill on Friday evening. However, the bill could change significantly before the final vote. The full committee will debate and advance this legislation on Tuesday, so today. With control of the White House and both chambers of Congress, Republican lawmakers can pass Trump's package without Democratic support via a process known as reconciliation, which bypasses the Senate filibuster with a simple majority vote. I don't care about that. Trying to see what they say about the actual thing. So it says one of Trump's goals is to fully extend the trillions in tax breaks they enacted via the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. In 2017, this legislation brought sweeping changes for individuals and businesses, including lowering tax brackets, bigger standard deductions, a more generous child tax credit, a higher estate and gift tax exemption, and 20% deduction for pass-through businesses, among other provisions.
And if we remember about what happened in the first Trump administration, the economy was booming before the jibby jab outbreak happened, and that was because of his tax cuts. Now, he couldn't make the massive tax cuts he's making right now. He mainly decided to have tax breaks for businesses and the upper class, which created jobs, and this is why the economy was booming. And this tax cut, because Doge has found so much waste, fraud, and abuse, he has a lot of excess money to cut taxes for everybody across the board, including the upper class, which is going to create a ton of jobs. He's trying to bring manufacturing back. The upper class is the one that's going to invest in these manufacturing in the United States. So this is more good news for Trump's tariff.
And just looking at just the personal experience, looking at the marginal tax brackets for tax year 2025 in the States, it's insane that, so this is married filing jointly. So this is two people's income and how much they get taxed or they would get taxed. So for plus 24% of amount over 206,000, it's funny that in Vancouver, Canada, I was paying 24% tax on an income, single income, by the way, because I filed by myself, of less than 40,000 a year, and that's Canadian, so that's even less because the Canadian dollar is depreciated. So it's insane that in the States, I would have to make up to $394,000, which I've never seen in my life, to get taxed as much as I used to get taxed in Canada.
But that's from the federal government. You have to remember their state tax as well. This is why a lot of people like to live
for single people.
This is why a lot of people like to live in Texas, because there is no state tax, I believe. But certain states are really trying to bring the population there by having no state tax. So then the people only pay federal tax. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, but still,
but if you live in a state like California, the taxes are super high.
Yes, in Vancouver, Canada, British Columbia as well, they're insane. So they would expand the child tax credit to $2,000 from $1,000 to $2,000 for per child under age 17, and boosting the eligibility of who can sign up for that or ask for that. Salt deduction relief.
Okay. Well, I think that's good.
Okay. I was trying to go into all of them.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for everybody for tuning in.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah, you can go to our two-shot there.
Oh, we don't have any comments.
No comments.
Who knows where Rafa and Walker went?
I know. Maybe I said something that
we
pissed them
missed
off.
you today. Oh, we didn't even go to Rumble. Oh, or you and Bailey. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, that's fine.
Okay.
If anybody does have comments in the future and tunes in live, we pretty much read most of the comments there. So, yeah.
So yes, comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and give it a like, because we're trying to grow this channel too. Anything else?
Oh, my light went out at some point.
Yes, today we've had multiple technical issues, so sorry about that, but thank you for being here, and we'll see you tomorrow, 9:15 p.m. Mexico City time. And no Rumble today.